Hey everybody, welcome to Bura Tech. In this episode, we're going to be talking about whether you as a programmer should learn design. Alright, welcome back. Before we start this video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe, and if you really like this video, please share it. This channel doesn't do a Patreon. Instead, we have our digital products down below, and every dollar that we get from the products that you buy down below goes into making more content. Alright, so oftentimes people understand that programmers and designers are two completely separate disciplines. It's probably because they met a programmer that could not design anything at all, and they probably met a designer that could probably not program anything at all. Now, believe it or not, a lot of these people in these fields can probably do the other task in some way, shape, or form. Now, that means that there are going to be programmers out there that will never be good designers, and there'll be designers out there that will be never good at programming. However, it's possible to do both, and if you want to make apps or games by yourself in your bedroom, you need to learn at least those two skills. So if you're a programmer, should you learn design? And the answer is, it depends on what kind of programming you are doing. If you're doing a lot of back-end programming, chances are you don't need a lot of design work. However, if you're an app developer, you do need to at least know the fundamentals. Now, in the past, programming has been more of a math type discipline. In fact, when I was in high school, most of the programming that I was doing was just figuring out algorithms and solving problems. However, that changed once the web became more and more design oriented, and it very much changed when Apple came out with the iPhone. Let's talk about the web first. Well, if you look at a website from maybe around the year 2000, you'll notice that it doesn't look very good in today's standards. In fact, at the time, the amount of fonts that you could use and the amount of things that you could do on the web was very limited, and all websites kind of looked very bland in today's standards. However, as the web grew and as people's tastes changed and as the technology frankly got better, more fonts were added and more design was added to the web, and now designing a website is very much design oriented. In fact, if you're not good at design, you probably won't be a good web developer. That is, if you're doing front-end web development. If you're doing back-end web development, you don't necessarily need good design skills. However, I feel that even if you are a back-end developer, you should at least learn the basics of design. One of the biggest tips and tricks that I use is to go for the minimalist design. You can check out my website here, which was programmed in 3 hours, and it has a very minimalist design. Just remember that minimalism will save you a bunch of time. So as a web developer, you definitely need to learn design, because if your website doesn't look good in today's standards, then it won't be passable and you won't get work. The other major field that requires you to learn at least the basics of design is app development, and specifically iOS development. Like I said, in 2008, when the iPhone came out, it changed everything. The reason is that the design of the device was so different in comparison to previous devices that Apple had to figure out new technology to actually make it work. And the design, if you've ever coded an iOS app before, is built into the code itself. For example, there are functions called touches began, which is a function that realizes the touch. If you look at app development environments that came after the iPhone, then you'll realize that the iPhone was major inspiration for all of these other environments. Nowadays, you can make an app in Android Studio, or you can use Flutter, which is absolutely amazing. You need to at least understand the basics of design to get a good-looking app. If your app looks terrible, no one's going to use it. So even if you're on a team and your job has nothing to do with design, you should at least learn the basics, because chances are there's going to be meetings where design comes up and you need to understand what the implications are. Because if there is a designer on the team, you need to work with them to make the best possible product. If you don't know the basics of design, then it's going to be a very bad process. And lastly, if you're a game programmer or want to make games, you absolutely need to know design. And this isn't just like UI design, this is game design as well. Game development is probably the most cross-disciplinary skills that you need to actually make a good product. In fact, games are so well designed today compared to 10 years ago that it is absolutely necessary that you learn not only game design, but UI design and overall app design as well. So in conclusion, do you as a programmer need to learn to be a good designer? The answer is yes. Even if you're a back-end developer, you should at least learn the basics. Spend 10 hours on just learning the basics of design, and I guarantee your career will be better as a result. Alright, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that video. Remember, if you like this video, please like and subscribe and share it with another person. Also, if you really like this channel, you can check out the products down below. Remember that if you buy our products down below, we put 100% of that money back into making more content. If you really like our products, then you can subscribe. That's the best way to help out this channel. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in another video.